It's Canada Day, it's July 4th. Let's eat cake. And it's weird because even though our day comes first, I feel like Americans just come behind us with a bang, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It does slightly, yeah. For this cake, I made 8 pounds of my vanilla batter. Who did this math? Me. Okay, no, that makes sense. And then okay, yeah, okay, I understand. I dyed 3 pounds of it red. I left 3 pounds of it plain, and I dyed 1.5 pounds of it blue. Yes, there's about a ½ pound left over. Bake yourself some cupcakes. My cakes are baked, cooled, and chilled, and now it's time to remove them from their pans and remove the caramelization from the bottom. These cakes are lower than I normally bake them because I want nice thin layers inside my cake. So I'm going to cut each cake into 2 layers, and then I'm going to use an upside down pan to remove the caramelization from the side. So now this is where it gets really tricky. Okay, so ready? Woo! I'm doing half the cake is Canada and half the cake is America. I need to explain to them how many circles I have of each color. I had a total of 5 layers of vanilla cake. I need to cut 3 of them in half to create semicircles. And so when you cut into this cake, I want the inside to represent Canada on one half and America on the other. There's a border running through my cake.
It's true. It's true. It's very lifelike.
Now I have 2 layers of blue cake. I'm going to cut both of them into semicircles. Okay. And I have 4 layers of red cake. I'm cutting 1 of them into semicircles. You're gonna figure this out after. Now it's time to simple syrup all these layers and half layers of cake. Sir Squeeze had a day. I told him he was representing 2 countries. He pulled it off.
I think he's a dual citizen.
He is, yes. They call him Mr. Squeeze across the border. I'm about to start building this cake, but I need to make sure to mark my cake board so that I know where the border is. So I'm using a plexiglass cake board, and what I'm gonna do is turn it upside down and just place a strip of red tape down the middle, and then this way from over top I can mark which side is Canada and which side is America. So basically I'm filling and stacking the cake with Italian meringue buttercream, and the Canadian side has red and white layers, but the American side has red, white, and blue layers. And I've worked out a pattern. So I'm just following the little diagram I drew, lining up my semicircles. And the reason I didn't cut all the cakes in semicircles is because sometimes it works out that I need 1 white stripe that goes across both countries. Yeah, I drew, look at my instructions. Like I drew out.
Hold it up, I can't see it.
Like that's the border. You do not want me to read this to you because it goes like this. Half blue, half vanilla, half red. So now it's time to crumb coat and chill this cake. My crumb coat is chilled. I'm going to ice it with more Italian meringue buttercream and of course a bench scraper. I just want to get it as smooth as possible before I decorate. If you're going to be celebrating Canada Day like me, subscribe. If you're celebrating July 4th, subscribe. If you're from another country, let me know below what day you celebrate, what is it called, what is the date, and subscribe. Fireworks for everyone. I really want to make some gum paste decorations for this cake. I want to make stars exploding out of the top of the cake. And of course I need to make some little baby stars for the American flag portion of my cake. Oh, I ruined it. I didn't say it was the flag. There, it's revealed. I have white gum paste, red gum paste, and blue gum paste. I'm gonna roll it out nice and thin and use a star cutter to cut out stars of the same size. Then I have some floral wire. They're really nice. I have silver, blue, and red. And what I like to do is just brush the end of the floral wire with a little bit of piping gel and then carefully insert it through the star. And then I set these aside to dry. And now I need to make the stars for my American flag. Once again, I'm gonna roll out some white gum paste and I'm using a small star plunger cutter to cut out the stars for the flag. I'm going to take the time to roll some fondant. So I wanna roll out red fondant and then I need to roll out a little bit of blue fondant. Now I can get back to my cake and start applying my patterns. The first thing I want to do is mark halfway. So I measured the circumference of my cake and then I laid my ruler up against it and just gently ran my knife down one side and then the exact opposite side. I basically extended the border.
You didn't ask anyone? You just like...
No, I have that power.
Got it. Love it.
I just feel like doing it. So I'm gonna start by applying stripes to my cake on the American flag side. I wanna measure the height of my cake and then, more math, I cut the stripes to the exact thickness I need them to be, and then I start to line them up on my cake between the two halfway lines. So I'm keeping it in the American border. So I lay my stripes, and in order to keep them perfectly spaced, I actually used a piece of tape. I'm using like Japanese washi tape, which is like masking tape, but it's a bit thinner, and it was the perfect measurement. So I just lay the tape onto the cake and then lay another red stripe, and I keep going all the way up the cake. Now that I have all my stripes on, I need to trim them. They did go over the border, they did go into Canada, and that's where maple leaves go. So I need to just cut them off and remove them. And now I have my nice clean stripes, but remember, I've got to add the blue rectangle. So I'm also going to trim the stripes so that the blue rectangle can fit there. So I'm calling it the blue rectangle. How much do you want to make a bet it has a name? How much do you want to make a bet that that portion of the flag has like a name? Tell us, tell me below, educate me, I'm here. I lay my rectangle onto my blue fondant. I cut it into a perfect rectangle. Before I apply it, I'm gonna use my little template to mark where the stars go. And I'm gonna apply this rectangle to the cake without the stars because I think it will do far less damage. So let's just apply the rectangle to the cake. This way, I already have like a little map laid out once it's on my cake, and I can start to add my gum paste stars. Dab a little bit, just a little dot of piping gel on the back of your tiny gum paste stars and just line them up with that pin mark. There you go, American flag. But this is only a half decorated cake.
You have a whole other country on the other side of that map.
You know? So I'm going home and I'm gonna decorate the Canada side of this cake. For the Canadian side, I simply have to create the two red panels that are on either side of our flag. So I'm just cutting those out of fondant and I'm gonna lay them starting right where the stripes end on either side. And now I made a template of a maple leaf and I'm gonna just lay that on some red fondant, cut it out really, really carefully and lay that in the middle of the flag.
That was much less complicated than the American side. I'm just saying.
It was. You know what? In my mind was like, this was far easier, but I didn't want to say that. I really didn't. I just don't want it to come across, you know what I'm saying? What did I do? Oh, the top of the cake. Back in the day when I made tons of birthday cakes and tons of like bar mitzvah cakes, this was like my go-to. I basically intentionally ruined the top. I don't even know who I am. Just use a circle cutter or a cake pan, and then I traced a circle in the middle of the top of my cake. And then with a spoon, I scooped out some cake. Oh, I should have told you this. At the beginning, when I was cutting my cakes and carving, I actually saved the humps. All the extra little humps and colorful bits of cake, the red and blue, I just crumbled them up into a sieve, and then I shook the sieve and rubbed the crumbs with my hands to create red and blue cake crumbs. And what I want to do now is just fill that top opening with vanilla cake scraps and then my red and blue crumbs. So now that I've created this fun sort of cake explosion center, I want to pipe a border on the outside of the cake. So I used a star tip and I piped a nice shell border all the way around the cake.
Yum.
This cake is full of borders.
It's really ironic actually that you're making this cake while the border between Canada and the US is closed.
Are closed. Yes, currently our borders are closed to each other. So this cake is my way of offering, you know, we're still here, guys. Just look up. So before I add my stars on wires to the top of this cake, I want to gather them into like bouquets of stars. So I did separate them. I made one bouquet red, white, and blue, and the other bouquet red and white. You know which one's which. Now you can insert these bouquets into your cake. I want to do it as close to the center as possible, but with the American bouquet on the American flag side and the Canadian bouquet on the Canadian flag side, and just insert them in and then make any adjustments so they fan out of the cake. Oh, I have these little stars. They're like little glittery edible stars. So I actually sprinkled those all over the cake crumbs. We have a ton of baking live tutorials going on right now. Maybe some of you have joined in and participated, and there's a couple coming up that I want you to know about. This is our final call to join our unicorn s'mores live tutorial with Jyoti. Homemade marshmallows, homemade chocolate bars, homemade graham crackers. It's gonna be amazing. And we also have a cookie decorating 4-pack that you can buy so you can make cookies with Megan all July long. And you can mail them to me because it's not just Canada's birthday this month. Click the link below and find one you think you'll enjoy. Happy 4th of July. Can't get enough cake? Check this out.